ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय
Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmad Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmad Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. So we're continuing on with our study of Puja, Smarta ritual. And we've come to a section on Nyasa. So Nyasa means placement of mantras on the body or mantras on the deity. And so let's take up the text at the section on Nyasa. So it says here, Nyasa is an assignment of alphabets, parts of mantras, word divisions, etc., to various parts of the body, thus believed to be invested with the divine power and made secure. The tradition of Nyasa seems to be of tantric origin. Nyasa mainly serves to make the devotee's body divine and thereby fit for worship. As part of the Smarta Puja, Nyasa is not performed by all. So because Smartas are not followers of Agamas or Tantras, they're followers of Shmiti. So since they mainly follow the Vedas and the Shmitis, right, and normally Nyasa is not mentioned there, so it's not always performed by Smartas. So, continuing on. In the first series of Nyasas on the limbs, called Anga Nyasa, Anga means limbs, the 16 verses of Purusha Suktam, Rig Veda 1090, 1 to 16, are assigned to 16 limbs of the worshipper's body: left and right hand and foot, left, right knee, left and right hip, navel, heart, throat, left and right arm, mouth, eyes, and head. In the second series of nyasas on 5 limbs, which optionally may substitute the first series or may be performed in addition to it, the last 5 verses of Purusha Sukta are assigned the 3 places on the body: head, so heart, head, tuft of hair, the sika, and are pronounced for the arma, right, and for the weapon, right. More common is the current practice. More common in the current practice than the Panch Anganyasa, the 5 Anganyasa given here, is the Saranganyasa, in which the head, the heart, the head, the tuft of hair, 3 eyes, for armor and for the weapon are given. According to one current practice, Nyasa is performed as follows. Okay, so let's just have a look at there's a couple of footnotes here. They are, so to say, offered or deposited, these mantras, in the body with the concluding words of formulas which are inherited from the Veda. These are Namaha, Swaha, Vasat, used here, Hum, and Pat in the secondary nyasas. So for the interpretation of the relation between the exclamations Namaha, Swaha, Vasat, Hum, Bosat, and Pat, then you can see, and the head, and the heart, head, tuft, kavacha, crossing the chest, eyes, and weapon, you can see Prapancha Sara Tantra, 6, 7 to 12. So this is to create an armor or kavacha for the worshipper and provide him with a weapon, astra. Kavacha sometimes understood as the upper part of the body, and astra sometimes as interpreted as the hand. Do not seem to refer to specific parts of the body. The Purusha Sukta is traditionally divided into 3 parts: verses 1 to 5 as the first part, verses 6 to 10 as the second, and verses 11 to 16 as the third part. The third unit is employed for the nyasa of the 6 limbs, or the saranga nyasa. The third eye is thought of to be located in the middle of the forehead. The mudras prescribed for Anganyasa differ according to the tradition. So Raghava Bhatta's commentary, so there are so many different places, including she's mentioning here Vishwamitra Padma Samhita, and there are some illustrations that you can look at if you look at those texts. According to Treba, 120 to 20 to 23, index finger, middle finger, ring finger touch the heart, thumb and index finger the head, the thumb the tuft. All 10 fingers are used in the Kavacha mudra, right? So touching both shoulders. Index and middle and ring fingers are let's see, so employed in netra for the netra triaya, sometimes netrabhyam for 2 eyes or netra triaya for 3 eyes, etc. So note especially the difference regarding the performance of the astra right, for the weapon. For different sarangan mudras, according to the deities Vishnu, Shakti, and Shiva, see Mantra Mahodadi, chapter 21, verses 146 to 156. Okay, so the illustration 17 in app 1 shows the middle finger and ring finger, which may be in accordance with the practice of another tradition. This may be from also in this book that's mentioned here for us to go check out. No, it's not Prapanchasara, it's PKS. Bhaskara Kalpa Sutra, I think it means. According to some, one strikes the palm twice or thrice. That's in Mantra Mahodadi, chapter 4, 37. According to some, the index finger and thumb are employed here. And we can have a look here. Okay, so again, continuing on, right? From the sentence, according to one current practice of nyasa, is performed as follows. While uttering the name of each limb, the worshipper touches it with the right hand, speaking for the armor, whom. The left hand is placed on the right shoulder and the right hand on the left shoulder crosswise. The left hand is placed on the right shoulder and the right hand is placed on the left shoulder crosswise. And the hands are moved in a circle towards the chest. Saying for the weapon putt, he strikes the palm of the left hand with the index finger and middle finger of the right hand once. And that could be once, twice, or 3 times, thereby making a slight sound. In the Smarta tradition, nyasa is followed by the closing up of all quarters, right, surrounding you, the binding of the quarter of the directions, against intrusion of evil elements. This is called digbandha, for which the right hand is raised above the head while making a sound of snapping the thumb and the middle finger, right? Actually, some people say the index finger, thumb and the index finger, but that's very hard to do. Thumb and the middle finger, and circumambulating the head. For an illustration of Saranganyasa, see photos 12 to 18. So here we have the nyasa with verses of the Purusha Suktam. So the Purusha Suktam starts off Sahasrashirsa, Solasa Narayana Purusho Nustub, Antya Tristub, Swaanga Nyase Viniyogaha. This is the mantra nyasa, or the mantra. So the mantra description, where you do the mantra nyasa first before you do the anga nyasa. Om Sahasrashirsa Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapatsa Bhumim Vishvadovritpad Terishtad Dasangulam Vamakaraya Namaha. That means the left hand. Then the next verse, Dakshinakaraya Namaha, right hand. Then the next verse, Vamaparaya Namaha, the left foot. Then we have the next verse, and Dakshinapadaya Namaha, the right foot. Then we have the next verse, and Vamajanave Namaha, the left knee. And the next verse, Dakshinajanave Namaha, the right knee. And then we have, so always the left and then the right, seems like that. Sometimes we see people doing nyasas first touching the right side and then the left side. Here it's the left then the right. Then the next verse, Vama Katyaya Namaha, right hip, and then Dakshina Katyaya Namaha, the left hip, and then Nabhyaya Namaha, the navel, and then Hridaya Namaha, the heart, and then Kantaya Namaha, the neck, and then Vama Bhujaya Namaha, the left arm, and Dakshina Bhujaya Namaha, the right arm, and Mukhaya Namaha means the mouth or the face, and then Netrabhyam, meaning two eyes, right? And then Murdne Namaha, the head. And that's with the 16 verses. And so here we have the translation of that. The hymn beginning with Sahasra Shirsha has 16 verses. Narayana is the seer or the rishi. Anustubh is the meter. And the last verse is in Tristubh meter. It is employed for nyasa on one's body. So Om Rig Veda 1091, salutation to the left hand, then the next verse, salutation to the right hand, left foot, left knee, left hip, right hip, navel, heart, throat, left arm, right arm, mouth, eyes, and head. Okay, so for a translation of Purusa Sukta, see, I guess, page 137. All right, so continuing on, we have the nyasa of the 5 limbs, or the Panchanga nyasa. In Hari Bhakti Vilasa also, there's a Panchanga nyasa of Gopala mantra. There's also a Sadanga nyasa of Gopala mantra. So you can either do this Panchanga, for touching 5 limbs or touching 6 limbs. So here they're using the last 5 verses from 12, 13, 14, and 15, and 16 of the Purusa Suktam, with Hridaya Namaha, heart, Sirsi Swaha, the head, Shikaya Vasate, the tuft, Kavachaya Hum, across the chest as a shield, and Astraya Pat as a weapon. And then the closing of the quarters around you, the closing of the directions, iti digbandaha. And usually it's not just iti digbandaha, but usually people say Om Bhurvava Subaha iti digbandaha. So here we have the translation of that at the heart, at the head, at the tuft, for the armor, for the weapon, and digbanda. Next, we have the worship of the vessel. So there are many different vessels used in puja. The usual vessel that we talk about first is a big vessel, a big container of water, which is the water is made holy so that we can use that water for sprinkling and purifying other vessels and pouring into other vessels to fill up other smaller vessels up. Next, the worshipper sanctifies the utensils, which he's going to use in the following puja by invoking deities into their different parts. Thereby, he makes them suitable instruments of worship. The vessel, kalasha, worshipped here, is of a particular shape, see illustration F, and is filled with water. Along with the conch, it serves as a container for water, which is used in worship. The gods Vishnu, Rudra, so that is Shiva, Brahma, the groups of mother goddesses, the ocean, the number of mother goddesses, Matrika, differs according to the tradition from 7, 16, or more than 100 to more than 100. The ocean, the earth, and the 4 Vedas are imagined to stay in various parts. Then sacred rivers like Ganges or Ganga, Yamuna are invoked in the water. While reciting the prescribed verses, the worshipper places his right hand on the top of the vessel, thus invoking the rivers as present. For the worship of the vessel, a small quantity of sandalwood paste, grains of unbroken rice called akshata, and a flower are made to stick to the side of the vessel. Finally, the cow or Denu mudra, which represents the cow's udder, right, is which pours nectar on and nectarizes. Illustration 19 is shown over the vessel. In this mudra, the position of the fingers imitates the shape of 4 udders of the cow, thereby suggesting that the vessel is filled with milk from the udders of the heavenly cow, Surabhi. And here's the mantra here for the Kalasha Puja, very simple. Kalasasya Mukhe Vishnu, Kante Rudra Samasritaha, Mule Tatrasito Brahma, Madhye Matra Ganaha, Smitaha, Kukshao Tu Sagara Sarve, Saptadvipa Vasundara, Rigvedota, Yajuvedaha, Samavedo, Kyatarvanaha. According to a scholarly etymology, the word Kalasha, proposed by a particular scripture, is also it is called Kalasha because the celestial architect Vishvakarman made it from various parts of Kala. Kala means parts. Kala means parts, not to be misunderstood as time, which is Kala, long A. Kala, the parts of the gods. So Kala Kalam Grithitva tu Devanam Vishvakarmana Nirmito Yam Savai Yasmat Kalas Tena Katyate. So this is a quote from that MNT scripture 5 at 181. The 2.5 verses in the beginning are met with frequently. And I don't know where this is from. For the meaning of Akshara, see page 161. Mudras are symbolic gestures of the hands and also body postures. And Dana mudras described in many texts, and there are some other texts here. There's a description of mudras, for example, hastadvaye tu adovaktre sammukhe cha parasparam vamanguli dakshinanam angulinam cha samdishu samvesha madhyamabhyam tu tarjanau dve prayojayat kanishte dve anamabhyam yujyatsa Denu mudrika, with both hands upside down and facing each other, having inserted the fingers of the left hand into the joints of the right hand, he should join the index fingers and middle fingers. The little fingers he should join with the ring fingers. This is called Denu mudra or cow mudra. So we can also see Paraskara, Kalpa Sutra, Appendix 6, and some other texts here about Surabhi Mudra. Surabhi Mudra is another name usually for Denu Mudra. Sometimes it's described as slightly differently. Anyway, so here we have more of those mantras or prayers to be done in the Kalasha Puja. Angaishcha sahita sarve kalasham tu shamashritaha atya gayatri savitri shanti pushti kari tata ayatu deva pujatam duritakshaya karakaha. Karakaha is also another name for a pot. Gange chai mune chaiva godavari saraswati narmade sindhu kaveri jalismin sanidim kuru kalashe gangadi tirtani avahiyami. I invoke you. Kalasha devata bhyo namaha sarvopacharate gandakshara pushpam samarpayami. I offer you this flour with sandalwood paste and unbroken rice. Dena mudram parasha. He then shows the Dena mudra. At the mouth of the vessel is Vishnu. At the throat, Rudra is seated. At the bottom, God Brahma stays. In the middle part of the group of mothers are said to be staying. And at the belly, all oceans, the earth with its 7 continents, the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Atharva Veda. All the Vedas accompanied by their limbs are staying in the vessel. In it is the Gayatri verse with Savitri as its deity, which gives peace and prosperity. May these who destroy evil come for the puja of the gods. O Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, be present in this water. I invoke holy rivers like Ganga into this vessel. Salutation to the deities in the vessel. As a substitute for all services, upacharas, right? I offer sandalwood paste, ganda, unbroken rice, akshata, and a flower, having shown the cow mudra, right? So at the end, show the cow mudra. So now we come to the worship of the conch in section 10 here, 0.10. So next, the devotee washes the conch with clean water for its purification. So he has now pure water in this kalasha, which he's invoked, and so he's going to wash the conch with that. Uttering the sacred syllable Om, he fills it. So he first washes it, discards that wash water, and then sits it down, fills it with water, holy water from the kalasha, which is just made. The conch is then placed on its stand. In Marathi, that's called an ardani. Illustration 10. The conch is, by its very origin, closely connected with the aquatic element. comes from the sea, and it's also used with water. So is considered to be an auspicious symbol, said to bestow plenty and fulfill wishes. Along with the vessel, it therefore serves as a container of water, which is used in later worship. So several verses are recited describing the deities Moon, Varuna, Prajapati, and the rivers Ganga and Saraswati as staying at different parts of the conch. The water which it contains is identified with that of the sacred rivers of the three worlds. It is remembered that the conch is one of the 14 items that appeared at the time of the churning of the ocean of milk for nectar, Amrita Mantana, and was taken by Vishnu, who holds it as one of his attributes. An imitation of the famous Gayatri or Savitri verse eulogizes the conch by identifying it with the conch Panchajanya, which Krishna obtained after conquering the demon Panchajana. The conch is then worshipped by offering sandalwood paste and a flour, unbroken rice akshata, which has been offered to the vessel, is not allowed to as an offering to the conch. So if you put akshata in the conch, it may flow out and onto the deity or something like that. So we're just using sandalwood paste and flour petal or flour to worship the conch. Finally, the conch or Shankha mudra is shown. Shankha mudra is shown, which imitates the shape of the conch. So here we have the description of the mantras here. Shankha Puja. So prakshalitam shankam pranavena purya. Right. So that means with the omkara you fill up the conch. Right. Shankha dao chandra daivatyam kukshal varuna devata priste prajapatim vidyad agre ganga saraswati. Right, so that's mentioning different deities that are in the conch. Right, so we have some footnotes here. I cannot trace this Gayatri to older sources for imitations of the Gayatri. These are different types of Gayatri. The reason is probably that the conch is closely connected with Vishnu, who should receive it receive an offering of akshata, who should not receive an offering of akshata. Oh, okay. That's an idea. Some people have this idea that Vishnu can't be offered akshata. So therefore, since the conch is associated with Vishnu and Vishnu isn't offered akshata, they don't offer akshata. Okay, so especially when he is being worshipped in the Shalagram stone. And they're quoting from Pushpa Chintamani, quoting a person called Yamala or it could be a book called Yamala 285, and there's a sloka there that is the pramana for that, for not offering Nakshatera Chayed Vishnu Natul Tulasya Vinaka. So it's like don't worship Vishnu with akshata. Don't worship Ganesh with tulsi. Don't worship Durga with durva grass, which is for Ganesh, right? And don't worship I'm sorry, Yajet, Na Durvaya Yajet, Durgam. So don't worship Durga with Durva. Bilva Patre, Divakaram. Divakaram, don't worship Surya with Bilva Patras or Baal leaves, which are used in the worship like Tulsi leaves but for Shiva, Bilva Patras or Baal leaves. Okay, that's a very good pramana. Anyway, like that. So the Shankha mudra is described in many texts, Vishwamitra Samhita, Naradiya Samhita, Mudra Niganta, Triba, etc. Right, so here's a description of we won't say the Sanskrit, but we'll look at the translation. Holding the left thumb with the right fist. So left thumb, hold with the right fist, having then turn that fist upwards. He should stretch the right thumb, having well stretched out joined fingers of the left hand, closed on the fist and touched by the right thumb. Right, so like that. Yeah, this is called Conch Mudra. Like that. So we can also see Padma Samhita, Vishwamitra Samhita, and some other books to look at mudras. All right, so continuing on with the Shankha Puja, we have Trilokye Yani Tirtani Vasudevasya Chagyaya Shanke Tishtanti Viprendra Tasmat Shankam Prapujayet Tvam Purasagarapano Vishnuna Vritita Kare Namita Sarvadevaischa Panchajanya Namostute. And here comes the what she calls an imitation Gayatri, or it's actually the Gayatri for Panchajanya, for the conch. Om Panchajanyaya Vidmahe Pavamanaya Dhimahi Tanna Shankha Pachorayat. And we have Shankha Devatabhyo Namaha. Sarvopachararte Chandanam Pushpam Samarpayami, offering just flower and chandanam. Then show Shankmudra, Shankamudram Pradarshya. Having filled the conch, which has been washed with water, while uttering the syllable Om, he says, at the opening of the conch is the deity of the moon. At the belly, the deity of Varuna. At the backside, one should know Prajapati. At the front side, Ganga and Saraswati. And whatever holy rivers are in the three worlds, these stay in the conch by Vasudeva's order. Therefore, best of Brahmins, one should worship the conch. You come into being formally from the ocean, are held by Vishnu in his hand and are bowed to by all gods. Panchajanya, I salute you. Om, O Panchajanya, we meditate on Pavamana, the pure one, right? May this conch inspire us. Salutation to the deities of the conch. As a substitute for all services, I offer sandalwood place and a flower, having shown the conch gesture, he says. So now we come to the worship of the bell, the hand bell, which is used in puja. The worshipper washes the bell, then rings it with his hands, imitating the shape of a bell. Rings it with his hands, imitating the shape of a bell. Okay. See illustration 22. The ringing of the bell is taken to signify the arrival of the gods and the departure of the demons. So, for a drawing of the position of the hands, 91, in the shape of the bell, right, which resembles the Musala mudra, in which, however, the right hand is placed on top of the left, so something like this or something like this, as in Tachikawa 1983, page 135, figure 140, for an illustration of Musala mudra, see Vishwamitra Samhita, opposite page 94. Musala means club or mace, which is Vishnu's weapon, but also the clapper of a bell, so the piece that makes the sound. The number of texts prescribed Garuda mudra, right? Or it can also be like this, Garuda mudra. In connection with the use of the bell, this mudra is described in various texts like Vishwamitra Samhita, Mudra Nigantu, and Triba, page 119, 22 to 25, and it is performed as follows. And we'll get that in a minute, but let's continue on with the Ganta Puja. Right. So the devotee worships the bell by offering sandalwood paste and unbroken rice and a flower. The bell is then kept on the left-hand side in front of the devotees because he's going to use his left hand to bring it, when the conch is kept on the right side. The bell is going to be used at several stages of the ritual. That is, for example, at the stage of offering a bath, incense, or waving the arti lamp. On these occasions, it is held in the left hand. Ganta Puja, agamartam tu devanam gamanartam tu rakshasam kurve ganta aravam tatra devahvanala shanam gantyai namaha sarvopachararte gandakshata pushpam samarpayami. For the coming of the gods and the going of the Rakshasas, I ring the bell, thereby signifying the invocation of the gods. Salutation to the bell. As a substitute for all services, I offer sandalwood paste, unbroken rice, and a flower. Worship of the lamp. So, the oil lamp in Marathi Samai, illustration Y, is worshipped by reciting a verse from the hymn to Indra, Rig Veda 6:47-21, where Indra is represented as having put to flight the dark aborigines and having slain demons. The employment of the verse here suggests that the oil lamp may dispel darkness and drive away evil spirits. So we have some verses here about, again, about this musala mudra, or mudra that's used for ringing the bell. Having turned the hands back to back and having interlocked the little fingers, so back to back, interlock the little fingers, and having joined the first set, having joined first the index fingers and having joined the thumbs, one should imagine the two sets of middle fingers as to form, oh, this is the Garuda Mudra, the rings fingers, the middle fingers and ring fingers as two wings. This is the Garuda Mudra, which destroys all poison. For an illustration of this mudra, see Vishwamitra Samhita, opposite page 94. For a slightly different description and illustration, Padma Samhita, page 19, number 26. Garuda is the deity that is believed to stay in the bell, and the formula Gantashtaya Garudaya Namaha occurring in several Prayoga texts. So see that. Therefore, Garuda is depicted on the handle of many bells in North India. And then there are different versions of this too. Shaivites will have a Nandi on top of the bell, but Sri Vaishnavas will have a Shankar Chakra on the bell, and Madhvas may have a deity of Hanuman on the bell. But in North India, it tends to be Garuda, which is put on the handle of the bell, the end of the handle of the bell. Therefore, explains in a traditional manner that the auspicious sound of the bell, which removes hindrances, reminds of the sound made by the wings of the bird Garuda, Vishnu's vehicle, and is therefore dear to the gods. Okay, so I'm not aware of this verse being used elsewhere. What are we looking? What verse are we talking about here? 130, 131, maybe this one, Agamar Martam, this one, I think is what she's talking about, the verse that we use with the thing. Okay, I'm not aware of this verse being used elsewhere in a similar context. The worship of the oil lamp is not found in all Prayoga texts, perhaps because the lamp is not directly needed at any stage of the later ritual, but only serves to illuminate the idol and place the worship and the place of worship during puja. So here's the Deepa Puja, or the lamp puja. We're talking about a standing lamp here. So sometimes we call that a Pratyaksha Deepam, and we can actually show it sometimes before and then use the lamp at the end for the arti or the nirajana. So it can be used. Okay, so Om Dive Dive Sadrishir Anyam Ardam Krishna Asedat Apa Sadmano Jaha Ahandasa Vrishabho Vasnayanto Davraje Varchinam Sambaram Cha Deepa Devata Bhyo Namaha Sarvopachararte Gandakshara Pushpam Samarpayami. So Om, day after day, far from their seat, he drove them alike from place to place, those darksome creatures. The hero slew the meanly huckstering Dasas, Varchin, and Shabara, where the waters gather. Salutation to the deities of the lamp. As a substitute for all services, I offer sandalwood paste, unbroken rice, and a flower. Now we talk about sprinkling, or prokshana, 0.13. 0.13, it indicates this is preliminaries to the main puja. So the worshipper now purifies himself and the utensils for worship by sprinkling water from the vessel and the conch by means of a flower or durva grass. The act of sprinkling water, a common means of purification, on utensils which are to be used in sacrifice, occurs already in the Shrauta ritual, that is the Vedic ritual, right? The mantra employed here is a well-known verse which is recited for purificatory purposes on many occasions. It expresses the conviction that the mere recalling of Vishnu's names removes inner mental and outer bodily impurities. So here comes the prokshana, or the sprinkling. Kalasha shankodakena. So with the water of the pot, or water of the conch, we're going to sprinkle apavitra pavitro va savavashtam gatopi va yasmarit pundarikaksham sabhahyabhyantara suchihi atmanam prokshya puja dravyani sam prokshayet. So he sprinkles himself, and he sprinkles all the puja items, the ingredients for puja, utensils. So having sprinkled himself with water from the vessel and the conch while reciting the verse, whether pure or impure, in whatever condition one may be, he who recalls the lotus-eyed Vishnu becomes cleansed within and without. He also sprinkles the puja utensils. 0.14 meditation. The worshipper takes flowers and unbroken rice in the hollow of the joined hands and recites the meditation verses, or the dhyana slokas. The flowers consecrated by the mantras are then offered to the deity, or at the feet of the deity, like that. So the meditation dhyana verse is a stanza describing the appearance of the deity in order to help the worshiper visualize the deity. Here, 5 verses are supplied according to the 5 deities of the Panchayatana system, or Panchopasana system, is worship of where deities are of Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesh, Surya, and Devi. They are arranged in such a way that one's favorite deity is placed in the center, surrounded by the other deities arranged in a particular order. There'll be a footnote about that. The verse addressed to the favorite deity here, Vishnu, is recited first. The devotee is expected not only to recite the verse, but to meditate on the form of the deity. In the current performance, however, which is often done hurriedly, dhyana, or meditation, has been reduced to the mere recitation of the prescribed verses. So dhyana, or meditation, atat dhyanam, anjalao pushpao gruhitva. So take two, in the 2 hands, take a flower and offer it and give it, right? So given a flower with the 2 hands. Shantakaram bhujakshayanam padmanabam suresham vishvadharam gaganasadvisham megavarnam shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogibhir Dhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhava Bahayaram Sarvalokaikanaatam. This is also recited in the recitation of Vishnu Sahasranama. So something here in the footnotes. Dhyana is performed by really meditating on the form of the devata, no matter whether the dhyana mantra is recited or not. For the Shastric meaning of the expression dhyana, dhyayet, is should meditate, and not should recite the dhyana mantra. Dhyana has been defined by Yajnavalkya, quoting Dave, pages 440 to 445, right? And he's given a sloka here as a definition of dhyana. Sahitena manasa chaitanyantara vartina atmano bishta devanam dhyanam vihochate. So Ihochite means here it is said that dhyanam is this meditation or thinking of the deity. Nice. Anyway, exactly the translation. So I'm not going to give. So Kularnava Tantra also 1736 gives another definition here. Yavad Indriya Santapa Manasa Samniyamya Cha Swatena Vishtadevasya Chintanam Dhyanam Uchyate. For a collection of dhyana verses or slokas, see Sirchar 1972 to 1973. Continuing on with the dhyana slokas. So we only did the one for Vishnu so far. Here's the other one. So we got Dhyayan Nityam Mahesham Rajata Giri Nibam Charuchandarvatamsham Ratna Kalo Jwalangam Parasumrigavara Prasannam Padmasinam Samantat Stutam Amaraganer Vyagrakritim Vasanam Vishvadyam Vishvavandyam Nikila Bhayaharam Panchavaktram Trinetram. That's for Shiva. Gajavadanam Achintyam Tikshidamstram Trinetram. Brihadudharam Ashesham Bhutirajam Puranam. I think that sounds like it's for Amaravara Supujam Raktavarnam Suresham Prajapati Sutam Isham Vignarajam Namami. Okay, so that's for Ganesh. Shashanka Chakram Ravimandale Stitam Kusheshaya Krantam Anantam Achyutam Bhajami Buddhya Tapani Yamurtim Surottamam Chitra Vibhushanojwalam. That's for Surya, I believe. And the last one for Devi. Vidyudama Samaprabham Mrigapati Skandastitam Bishanam Kanyabhir Karavaketa Vilasa Dastabhir Asevitam Hastes Chakradhara Shiketavi Shikams Chapam Gunam Tarjanim Bibranam Analatmikam Shashidaram Durgam Trinetram Bhaje. Okay, so that's for Devi. Dhyayami means I meditate on you. Iti Pushpanjalyapanam, offer your flower. Or Pushpanjali, offer flowers with two hands. So now the meditation, having taken flowers in the cupped hands, Anjali, he says, meditation on Vishnu. I worship Vishnu, who destroys the fear of samsara, the only Lord of the whole world, whose appearance is calm, who has a serpent as his bed, from whose navel a lotus grows, the Lord of the gods, the support of the universe, who is as all-pervading as the sky, who has the color of the clouds, who is handsome limbs, Lakshmi's husband, the low-side one, who can be discovered in the meditation by the yogis. Meditation on Shiva. One should always meditate on the great Lord Shiva, who is as brilliant as a silver mountain, who has the beautiful moon as crest jewel, whose limbs are shining like ornaments of jewels, whose hands hold axe and antelope and the gestures of boon and protection, who is calm, who sits in the lotus posture, who is praised by groups of gods on all sides, who wears a tiger skin, who is the cause of the universe, worshipped by the universe, removes all fear, has 5 faces, and has 3 eyes. Meditation on Ganapati. I bow to the one with an elephant's face, who is inconceivable, has a sharp tusk, 3 eyes, perfect belly, is perfect, the Lord of prosperity, the ancient one, who is fit to be worshipped devoutly by the best of the gods, is of red color, the Lord of the gods, Shiva's son, the powerful, the remover of obstacles. So then meditation on the sun, Suryanarayana. I worship in my mind the best of the gods, who has conch and discus, stays in the solar orb, who is encircled by a water lily, is infinite, permanent, and whose form is golden, who shines with various ornaments. Meditation on Devi. I worship the 3-eyed Durga, who is as radiant as a flash of lightning, who sits on the back of a lion, who is frightening, who is served by girls whose hands hold swords and shields, who holds her with her hands discus, conch, sword, shield, arrow, bow, noose, and Tarjani mudra. Tarjani mudra means a cursing or threatening mudra with the index finger. So is fiery and holds the moon. I meditate. Having said so, he offers the handful of flowers. So now we come to the worship with the 16 services, the Sora Supachara worship.
Om Namo Narayanaya. Om